City and town driving doesn't get easier because you just magically stop caring. It gets easier because you get better, and that's what this video is designed for. I'm going to show you 7 things to make your city and town driving easier and more comfortable. And the first thing I teach my learners when we're going around town or in this city is that the busier it gets, the more your driving becomes about surviving and not speed. When we're driving, we've got different modes, almost like a video game, and it really depends on the situation you're in for the mode that you want to drive in. For instance, the longer and straighter a road is, the more you're in progress mode, speed mode. How quickly can I get from A to B safely and quickly? Speed is the focus. But the busier a road gets, the more that mode has to change into survival driving. And survival driving just literally means, how can I get from A to B without crashing the car? And the problem is, most of the time crashing isn't necessarily your fault, but a crash is still a crash. And believe it or not, most crashes can be avoided. Not all, but most. Now we have to change our mode depending on the situation. For instance, we've got a red traffic light ahead. So mode changes to slowing down, checking mirrors, making sure anyone behind me is going to slow down and not go into the back of me. Now survival driving is always going to happen anytime a road connects to another road in some form. For instance, we're going to be turning left here. This is a junction. So this is no longer about how quickly can I get into that road. I need to get there really quick. No, this is how can I get from here to that road without that lorry behind me crashing into me and without me going into the back of this car or going on the curb or hitting the bollard or anything else. That is the new goal. A road like this that you can tell, look how narrow this road is, right? Do I need to get from A to B as quickly as possible? No, I need to survive. I need to not hit my wing mirrors all up this hedge and crash into the van that's on my right. Survival driving. Now when we drive, there's always a very fine balance between speed and position. Think of a seesaw. On one side, you've got Mr. Speed, and on the other side, you've got Mrs. Position. You can never focus on both sides of the seesaw at the same time. One is always going to outdo the other. Now the straighter and the longer and the wider the road, the more you can focus on the speed. This is a 30 road, I've got loads of space, so I'm focusing loads on the speed. Look, there's very little positioning that I need to focus on. I've got loads of space there, loads of space there. However, the more dangerous a situation gets, or the more narrow a situation gets, the less you have to focus on speed and the more you focus on position. But if you're going to focus on position, the speed has to come right down. So an example is these traffic lights. I'd like to turn left. If I want to get around this corner and stay on our side of the road without making any hiccups at all, going onto the other side, hitting the curb, I need to bring the speed right down. Here we go. So I'm going round the corner, staying off the gas, and then accelerate out the corner onto the straight because now I can focus more on speed. How quickly can I get from A to B? Now we have a parked car, I'm going to slow right down and focus on not clipping the car on my left side and not hitting the oncoming car. There you go. And now we have lots of space again, so we don't need to worry about position. We're nice and loose and we're focusing on getting that speed. How quickly can we get from A to B within the legal constraints of the law? We're coming to a roundabout. So what are we going to focus more on the roundabout, speed or position? Well, we need to drive to survive, so we're going to focus a lot more on position, which means we have to bring the speed right down. And believe it or not, the slower you go on a roundabout, the more likely you are of not having to stop. After this car, yes, there's a gap there. Now, the most common mistake people make when they're learning to drive, particularly on roundabouts, is they try and keep the speed and position at the same time. And if you're turning left, this isn't too bad, but if you start trying to go straight or turning right while trying to keep your position and speed the same, it never works. And this is why you end up increasing your risk of having a cheeky accident, cheeky bump, or you just end up screwing up the whole thing. So we're looking here, after this car, there's a space there. So I'm continuing to the middle of the roundabout and then I'm easing off my gas and I'm focusing on my positioning because I'm trying to make sure I survive as well. I don't want this guy to pull out on me and I want him to have time to see where I'm going in case he wants to change his plan of action, decides to go or not go. I need time to react to that as well as get out the roundabout. The general rule is if something requires more focus on position, then it has to have less focus on speed. But if it is a nice straight road like this, then it won't require as much focus on positioning, which means you can focus more on the speed. The next problem you've got is the busier a place is, the more risk there is. Imagine if there was no one else on the road. Would there be any risk of you crashing? Well, there'd be a hell of a lot less. It'd be a lot easier to pass your test, put it that way. So where is your busiest place going to be? Towns and cities, which means they are going to be the highest risk locations. Now the problem is the more risk there is, the more danger there is. And the more danger there is, the more your brain is going to want to focus on the danger. And guess what there's going to be a hell of a lot of in a town or a city? Danger. The problem is we don't want to focus on the danger. We want to focus on the space. And this section's all about learning to not look at the danger and actually look for spaces. And this is really important, again, at anywhere where roads connect, because guess where the danger is going to be? There. And a really good example of that we're coming up to now is a roundabout. I'm going to show you a few examples. As a car's coming round the roundabout, we don't want to stare at the car. We want to look behind the car. We want to look around the car because that's where our space is going to be. We also want to look for blockers. What have we got here? Well, at the moment, we've just got a big fat space after this car. So what am I doing? I'm going because I'm looking behind the car. Then again, I'm checking my central left mirror. And remember, guys, what do we want to see when we're checking our central left mirror? Ideally, zero, nothing, nada. If we're seeing something there, that's a bad sign. Now we're coming to another roundabout, and once again we're going to be looking for the space. I can see the white car, anything after the white car, yeah, another car after this car. Beautiful, look at all that space. We don't care about the next car because we've got space to get into the roundabout and across before that car gets to us, and that's all we care about. Okay, now look at the red bus coming around here. Is he going to come down here? No. Okay, so we're looking, is there a blocker? Because there's lots of traffic. You see this van here? That's a blocker, that's our friend. Because he's blocking all the traffic from coming, which means what can we do? We can go, baby. So always look for blockers. Blockers are your friends. They block the previous traffic, which is what you're looking for. If you're looking for danger though, which is often cars, you're never going to see a blocker. You're just going to see enemies and risk and danger everywhere. The other problem we've got with busy towns and cities is it's busy. And everyone's rushing, everyone wants to get from A to B. This is the place where everyone's going to be for work and going to work and getting home from work. And it makes us rush. It makes everyone feel rushed and want to get home. And the busier it gets, guys, the worse it's going to get. And the best thing you can do in that situation is slow your car down, which is going to speed your brain up. What I mean is, the faster you're going, the less time your brain's going to have to react to any given situation. So what's the best way to give your brain more time to slow down? The secret, the secret matrix style, slow the car down. And this really matters at places like roundabouts. Because at a roundabout, what's the aim at a roundabout? It's to continue on without having to stop. It's also great for traffic lights. You can see those red lights there. If I check my mirror, there's no risk behind me. I slow the car down nice and early. What do I want those traffic lights to do? I really want them to change before I get there. Not always possible, but I've got a far greater chance if I slow the car down nice and early. Also saves me a crap ton of fuel. And look at that, it's like magic. I haven't had to stop the car. Oh, nearly. Now the same's going to apply to the roundabout. We feel rushed because we rush into the roundabout and then slam the brakes on at the same time. Various reasons, maybe you're worried about the person behind you or whatever else, but it's actually worse. It's reverse psychology because you're more likely to stop. If I approach nice and slowly, I have more time to look and brain focus and react. Even with me talking, look how much time I've got. And there we go, look at that, beautiful. And one more time, coming to the roundabout. We're approaching nice and slowly, jogging speed, 15, maybe even 10. And it's going to give us, look at all those cars. It's going to give us the best chance to try and see the space between the cars. After this blue one, have we got, oh, this is a busy roundabout, isn't it? After these ones, where's this guy going? No idea. And we keep looking, we're edging forward. There is a space there, but he's coming out the Mini. No, not a good time. Behind the white car, what do you reckon? Behind the white car, yes, there's a space behind this white car. And we're going, we're committing straight after that. We're not looking for someone else, waiting for the next car. Because guess what's going to happen if you keep looking, guys? Yes, someone is going to come. So tell me, guys, at roundabouts, do you look for space or do you look for cars? So this is a perfect example of less space, less speed. Give your brain time to catch up. Is there space for me to go? I believe there is, but there was no harm in waiting for the lorry to go. Can you see I'm struggling to speak because I'm really focusing here? I'm looking at both sides and I'm keeping my speed down. Why keep the speed down? So my brain can catch up, and I'm still trying to talk at the same time. So I'm at a massive disadvantage. But that is the perfect idea of less speed gives brain time to focus and figure out what the hell's going on, and then you don't crash car. The busier a place is, the more rushed people become, the more mistakes people are going to make. Okay, nobody's perfect. You need to drive giving room for other people's mistakes, because unfortunately, guys, most crashes, it takes two people to crash a car generally, especially in town. And you can learn to avoid that, or you can instigate it. And if you want to avoid it, drive in preparation for other people making mistakes, because they're going to. We're human, we make mistakes every single day. Now, most people are good drivers, but there's just the odd one. The problem is, you don't know where they are today. So you have to drive like everyone is that not good driver. Here we go. Very nice at the bus. And when we talk about other people's mistakes, you know, this guy in front, for all we know, he could be on his phone, he might not look, he might suddenly smash his brake on at the last second. And where am I going to go if I'm not focused and left lots of room straight into the back of him? And I need to be aware of that. And how can I help that situation? I can just leave a bit more space in front of me. I've got to make sure, hope this guy doesn't pull out on me. So I'm just keeping an eye on that, but I'm ready. I know he shouldn't, and he probably won't, but I'm still ready, just in case. Because there's no point in me crashing into him, because I still lose, even if it's not my fault. What we don't want to do is we don't want to add to the risk. Risk is bad and no one wins. This is where people are going to make mistakes, because you've got two boxes here. Where do you get into? Do you get in the first box, second box? You're going to block the cars behind. You see this here? It's just a sticky situation. You've got parked cars on the side. So you've got to slow the car down, try your best to just avoid everything and everyone. No idea what's going on here. That was a good example of not knowing what the hell's going on. One of the most common mistakes that people make is they rush because there is someone tailgating them. There's someone behind them. It's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. I don't like it. No one else does. Mum and dad don't like it. No one likes it, okay? The worst thing you can do is speed up because of them. I wouldn't brake check them either. I wouldn't slow down too much either, but don't speed up because of them, okay? Because they're not going to pay your the £100 fine or your 6 points and get you banned for the first year. Best thing you can do if you get a tailgater is, one, turn the mirror away for a bit. If you know they're going to be behind you for a bit, turn it away. But my absolute favorite thing to do with tailgaters is just put the speed limiter on. Cruise control. So on this road is a 30-mile-per-hour road. I'll just turn on cruise control and I don't have to worry anymore. I'm not going to speed up anymore for the tailgater. I'm not going to panic, because it doesn't matter to me what they do now. I am doing all I can, which is the legal limit, and they can leave me alone. Now here we go. Here's a perfect example. I'm doing 21 miles per hour. The van behind me is clearly not over the moon that I'm following the speed limit. So what am I doing? I'm putting the speedometer, the limiter on the cruise control, because I am not going to be fined for this. I am doing what I'm supposed to do in this area, by a school, by people's houses. I'm not getting fined, and that's it. And that is the best way to deal with tailgaters. The other option is, if it's safe to, pull over if you want to. I've been known to do that. If I go to Wales or go somewhere, country roads where people drive like friggin' lunatics, because they know the area, you know? It's all right for them if they know the area. I can't do it. That is another option. But I wouldn't recommend that unless, you know, it really calls for it. Another really common thing people do is they don't signal when they're turning right on a roundabout. Just like this guy here. That is an absolutely perfect example. They signal off to show they're going off, but they don't signal to show that they're actually turning right. In fact, they don't even, that guy didn't even position to the roundabout. That's the big problem that you have, one of the most common and annoying things you have that people do on roundabouts. And that's why you have to be extra careful and approach a bit slower and focus on surviving rather than getting from A to B on a roundabout, because it's not you, it's them. So guys, what do you find worse, lane changing or busy roundabouts? What's your thing? What's your big pain point? Honestly, I think I prefer lane changing to busy roundabouts. But it does depend on how many lanes there are. Middle lanes are a bit sucky because you've got to worry about both sides then. The other thing that's really going to help with your driving is learning the patterns of the road. You don't need to learn every single road. Obviously, if you go to the same place every work or college or whatever, that's really helpful, but not so helpful for your driving test. But you can very easily learn the patterns of roads. For instance, if you're going near shops, what do you think is going to be there? Parked cars, people. So what are we going to do with our speed? We're going to be going slower because there's going to be way more hazard, way more risk. If you see bus stops down a road, what do you think is going to happen? Well, there's more likely to be a bus pulling over there, which is going to make life a lot more difficult for you, which is probably something that you're going to need to practice if you know that it's a test route. And driving is all about experience, and that's all a pattern is. The more patterns you learn in driving, the less surprises there's going to be, the more comfortable you're going to be in your driving experience. For instance, if I'm driving down the road and I see an Amazon or a DPD van parked on the side of the road, what do I know is going to be happening in a second? Either the door's opening, the back door's going to swing open, a driver's going to just walk out into the road. What I'm saying is I know there's going to be increased risk. So what would I do? I'd give them more space and I'd probably slow the car down. And that's all you're looking for when you're driving, especially in town. You're surviving and you're looking for those patterns. Now let me know from what we've talked about, which of those catches you out the most? Do you think you're going too fast into the roundabouts? Do you think you're focusing too much on your speed rather than your position? Or are you just not focusing on your survival driving enough? Now, if you have been super duper observant, tell me why I would not be taking my car to a driving test today. Why would that be a terrible idea? Let me know in the comments. I wish you all the best of luck and I will see you all soon. I'm Josh and I'm out. Boom.